Come in.
Yes, please.
Thank you, sir.
To begin with, please introduce yourself to all of us.
So my name is Ali Hamza and I'm from district Gujarat. My father is a small business owner and my mother is a housewife. We are 3 brothers and 2 sisters. I'm the 4th of the 5 siblings. Our parents put a lot of emphasis on our education, and throughout my academic career I have studied in one of the best colleges, universities, and mostly on scholarships. I was awarded the Young Talent Award in 2013. Then I got admitted into one of the best colleges available in Gujarat on scholarship. After clearing my intermediate, I decided to opt engineering as my professional career, and I got into NUST. NUST was really the changing point of my life, where I started indulging myself into reading books, taking part in debates, and I came across multi-dimensional ideological, political, and religious concepts and beliefs. And there the circle of my friends was propelling me to explore and to explore myself through both intellectually, mentally, and spiritually. In NUST I also took part in community services. We started a school for out of school children in Islamabad, F7 and F8. Apart from that, I, along with my friends, we decided to start a career counseling session in Gujarat for the 11th and 12th graders, to inform them about the opportunities awaiting them in the intermediate. My academic career in NUST was also quite good. I graduated with 3.6 CGPA, and my final year project was based on the Sustainable Development Goals. We used environmental friendly structures instead of the conventional structures. After graduating from NUST, I started preparing for CSS 2021, and after that I was hired as an assistant resident engineer in Gujranwala division under the project of Punjab Abhi Authority. My job included quality assurance and quantity assurance of infrastructure development, and also awareness for the purpose and for the benefits of safe drinking water. So all in all, these 23 years of my life have taught me a lot, and the most important thing is what matters is what you leave behind for someone else to follow. And I believe and I want to live a life that someone someday can use as a guidance. Thank you, sir.
You come from Gujarat.
Yes, sir.
Tell us something about the district of Gujarat.
Sir, district of Gujarat has 3 tehsils, and initially the city of Gujarat was developed in 460 BC by Raja Bachchan on the request of his beloved wife Odhe, and initially the name of Gujarat was Odhe Rani. Then after that, the famous battle of Rajaporas with Alexander the Great was fought also on Tibba Mong, which is now in district Bahauddin, but it was in district Gujarat at that time, or the area surrounding the Gujarat. Then the second reconstruction of Gujarat started when the Gujran Rani of Sialkot, he conquered that area and named it Gujran Nagar. After that, during the reign of Akbar, he started to develop a fort around the Gujarat. That fort had 4 gates. It was a walled city, and 2 castes, Gujjar and Jat, lived in that district. So from that Gujjar Jat Abad to it transferred into Gujarat. So the Gujarat is the only district which hold the record of 3 Nishane Haidars, one for Major Aziz Bhatti, the second was Major Shabir Sharif, and the third one is Muhammad Akram. Apart from that, Tehsil Gujarat of Tehsil Khari of district Gujarat is one of the richest tehsil in Pakistan due to the remittance. So these are some of the informations. Apart from that, across the literature point of view, Ahmad Rahi, who was the first Punjabi poet to publish a book in independent Pakistan, was also from Gujarat, and Anwar Masood is from Gujarat. Alam Lohar and Arif Lohar are from district Gujarat. So these are the information.
Gujarat has produced a prime minister, and also
yes, sir. Fazal Ilahi Chaudhry was the first president of Pakistan who completed his tenure in 17.
And then a prime minister.
Yes, sir. Shujat Hussain
then
was
a deputy prime minister.
Yes, sir.
And then Ali Hamza Butt.
Thank you, sir.
So you are competing within the province of Punjab.
Yes, sir.
How many people have qualified from Punjab?
Sir, to the best of my knowledge and abilities, 255 people from Gujarat have qualified the written exam out of 364.
255.
Yes, sir.
They have qualified for
The written exam, yes, sir.
You are facing a very tough competition.
Yes, sir.
What type of community services you have been doing? Will you just mention?
Yes, sir. Sir, during university, we headed a book donation drive for Kachi Abadi, which is quite opposite to Nast. Apart from that, we conducted open schools for children who are out of school in F7, F8, Markaz, and in district Gujarat. We started a career counseling session for 11th and 10th grade. We conducted seminars, 5 to 6 seminars in different colleges to provide information available to us for the 12th graders to achieve their, graduation in their desired dream. And
Who motivated you? Who motivated you to do that?
So it was actually a group effort because when we were starting to ponder our career in graduation or what field we must opt, we did not have any kind of guidance, and it was very difficult for us. We were five friends out of the class of 100 who qualified for the next exams, and most of the students were not very fortunate to get the graduation in the prestigious or one of the best universities available in Pakistan, like UAT and NUST and all these institutions. So that propelled us to do something for our community, and it is a kind of sense to giving back to the community from which we belong, as that community was really the main force which.
When this Gujarat University was established?
So Gujarat University was established, I'm not sure about the year, but it was established in the era of Jana Musharraf, as the PMLNQ was in power in Gujarat, and it was about 2000.
Who was the first vice chancellor?
Sir, I have no idea about that. I am intending to read upon that, but right now I don't.
Are you in touch with the newspapers?
Yes, sir.
What is this TLP? What is TLP is doing?
So TLP was initially created in 2015 by Khadim Hussain Rizvi, who is a cleric in Lahore. The initial purpose or the aim for which that TLP was created was to protect the honor of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But initially, the political aspect of that TLP came into the spotlight when Mumtaz Qadri's funeral was held, and they started to propel this political idea that we should create a Sharia or Islamic law in Pakistan. Right now, the protest which is happening in Lahore, and they are starting to come toward Islamabad, that is based on the government's promise to held a parliamentary session regarding the French envoy, which was due to the Prophet's caricature which was made in France, and the French president kind of supported that cartoonistic representation of Prophet. So in 12th and 20th April of 2020 was the deadline set by then leader of TLP, Saad Rizvi, to present that.
Yesterday, cabinet has taken a decision
Yes,
about the TLP. What is that decision?
So the decision is that the TLP will be treated as a militant extremist political party, not a religious party. Plus, the demands which were initially accepted by Sheikh Rashid, the defense minister of Pakistan, they will not be honored, because the behavior in which TLP is behaving, and the militant aspect that they are opening fire on the police. 4 police personnel were killed yesterday, and about 250 were injured. So the main core of that meeting was to deal the TLP as a militant wing, and to stop and to enforce the writ of the government, as they are challenging the writ of the government.
What do you think? How the government has behaved on this TLP issue for the last 1 week?
So the government hasn't behaved very well, in my opinion, because initially the defense minister of Pakistan, Sheikh Rashid, he was saying that only one dispute between the TLP and the government remains, and that is the expulsion of French envoy. But at the same time, the TLP's leadership was saying there was no contact between the Sheikh Rashid and the TLP main core committee. So I think the government should have prepared a concerted and a common ground on which they should start the dialogue before announcing anything, and plus they had to be careful because initially the protest was started due to the promises made by the government to expel kind of the French French envoy from the Pakistan. So if the government hadn't made that decision, then this would not have come to this. So I think the government
government has mishandled it.
Yes, sir. The group has been mishandled, and now it is.
Yesterday there was a conference in Iran about the neighbors of Afghanistan.
Yes, sir. Pakistan. Yes, sir. Pakistan.
Who are the neighbors? Who are the neighbors of Afghanistan who are meeting in Tehran?
Sir, Pakistan and Iran's joint conference of foreign ministers was held
in only Pakistan, Iran, and there are 4 others.
Sir, I don't know about that.
Neighbors of Afghanistan.
Sir, it was, if I may guess, so it might be Russia, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, and yes. These were the 4 neighbors. I have come across the news, but I wasn't.
What do you know about this Wakhan territory?
Yes, sir.
Wakhan corridor.
No, sir, I don't know about that.
It's connecting Central Asia. Afghanistan se jati hai, north mein.
So that is the region between Pakistan, which separate Pakistan from the Kaz country. Yes, sir. I only know about that little information, that it is a strip which is only separating Pakistan and Kaz country, because that strip is controlled by Afghanistan.
Length kitni hai us strip ki?
No, sir, I don't know about that information. Yes. So I am intending to reading up on that, but right now
what
I don't.
What is the strategic importance of Afghanistan vis-a-vis China and Russia?
So China and Russia, for them as well as for Pakistan, Afghanistan is a very important country as from the strategic point of view, because it is the only country that is separating Pakistan, China from the Kaz, and that is the country which can make troubles, or whose instability will lead to the disastrous plan of Russia to reach to the Arabian Sea, to the warm water. As far as the Kaz is concerned, Kaz is the energy-rich resources country, and China and Pakistan both need energy resources to maintain their economy, as China is the workshop of the country. So for that purpose, plus CPEC will be the route through which China, Pakistan and Afghanistan, and that can reach Kaz and through the European countries. So I think the strategic importance of Afghanistan for Pakistan, for China and for Russia is economic, as well as to counter the influence of America in that region, which has been in this region for the past 4 decades. And there is this Thucydides trap going on between the one, if the one rising neighbor, if the one country who is rising in power and the other who is declining, they will obviously fight to gain the main stage or whatever. So I think the Afghanistan stability will lead to the economic, political and the international stability in if the Afghanistan region is being calmed down and a stable and environment friendly government.
You have also taken the subject of political science and
yes,
US history.
Yes, sir.
Now, this is my last question. Just tell me, what is the theory of checks and balances? Checks and balances in the
checks and balances. So that is the theory of Montesquieu on the separation of power. The checks and balances theory ensures that the 3 parts of government, that is executive, legislature and the judiciary, they will ensure that no monopoly on power can be ensured by any one branch of the state, that is legislatures, executive and the judiciary. The power of checks and balances ensure that the president's or the legislature's power to veto or to change any laws which are ultra-virus to the constitution will be checked by the judiciary. On the same method, the judges of the judiciary will be appointed with the consensus of parliament as well. So these checks and balances ensure that these three powers ensure every part of the state, every organ of the state is working in its domain as prescribed by the constitution.
Thank you.
Recently, some reforms have been introduced in the working of the civil service of Pakistan.
Yes, sir.
What can you tell us about those?
So the most talked about one was the screening test, which was introduced recently yesterday after the cabinet meeting, that ensured that every aspirant who want to appear in the CSS has to go through a screening test. That screening test will be 100 marks MCQ and the passing marks will be 33. The second reform, which was proposed by Ishrat Hussain, who was the austerity advisor to Prime Minister, he said that if you want to join a particular cadre, you have to have a background knowledge for that cadre as well. For example, if you're going to opt for police services, you have to study criminology, you have to have the basic understanding of how the administration and how the interpersonal skills, how good your interpersonal skills are. The second one was to separate foreign services from these cadres, because foreign services is the one group that must be entirely based on your academic background, because you have to represent Pakistan in the international arena. And if you just base these on the 12 subjects which do not include any foreign services related subjects, then that will not bear the fruits that we desire. So these are the 3 to 4 academic, 3 to 4 reforms, plus the one was related to the perks and privileges of the civil services as well, to ensure that the corruption or the political influence or all these things are at the lowest.
Can you tell us about the police hierarchy, the organizational structure of the police force at the provincial level?
Sure, sir. They start from the constables, then there is head constables, then there is...
Start from the above.
Above, sure, sir. The first one is the IG of the province. Then there comes...
He's IG? He's known as IG?
Inspector General of the police.
Is he known as Inspector General now? Inspector General of Police? He used to be called, but now it has a different name after introduction of Police Order 2002.
I don't know.
And okay, IG, and then?
So then there come the deputy.
No, you don't have any idea.
Sure, sir.
You should go and
Sure,
have a look at it. Police is your second choice, and there is every chance that you might be asked this question.
Sure, sir.
It is the PPO now, Provincial Police Officer, the CCPO, the RPOs, the DPOs. This is the new nomenclature of the police structure. What do you know about Police Order 2002?
The Police Order.
Can you tell us some good provisions of the Police Order?
The Police Order 2002 was laid down to ensure the responsibilities and the characters which must be incorporated in order to arrest someone, in order to conduct some searches as well. Regarding the characteristics, the Police Order 2002 laid down that the prime responsibility of the police is to help those who are in need,
tell us about those measures. You are talking in general terms.
Yes, sir.
Just tell us about those measures which will enable police to work on these lines.
I have to read up on that.
You should.
Sure, sir.
Please go through it.
Sure, sir.
Provisions, about 8 or 10 provisions in the Police Order 2002, which were not earlier in the previous law. That was Police Act of 1861.
Yes.
Police has not been able to, earn the respect and confidence of the people so far. Why?
So the first thing is there is a lot of political, influence on the police as well. In order to in order to have respect among their colleagues or in respect among the community, they have to be able to perform their duties independently. They have to provide security to the public. The first and the foremost thing everyone will look for is security for their life, security for their property, and against the harassment issues. But as we have seen recently, that the political influence is hindering that responsibility or that duty of the police. Plus, there is also has been the lack of due to the lack of funds. There is a lack of training of the police as well. Most of the police personnel do not know what is expected of them. I am talking about the lower ranks, the constables, and these people. They are dealing with the public on daily basis. So I think first thing they have to do is to ensure the funds which are allocated to the police. I think it was 110 billion for Punjab, that must be allocated to the areas in which it was intended to. Plus you have to free police from the political influence so that they can perform their duties as close to the desired as possible.
Okay.
So I think these two things will be the.
How will you differentiate between tax base and tax net?
So tax base is the number of people from which you are collecting tax. For example, recently the government has inducted a ordinance or something in which they reduce the amount of annual payment on which you have to pay tax from the 1.2 million or to 6 lakh. So this increased the number of people who are going to pay tax. So as far as tax net is concerned, I am not sure about that. So if I had to take a guess, it will be the amount of people who are actually paying tax.
Yes, absolutely. And tax bases the potential. You have the potential people. There are let's say 10 million people who can pay taxes, and out of which only 0.5 million are paying taxes. So the potential is 10 million, and in the tax net is 0.5.
0.5 million.
How will you evaluate the performance of Pakistan cricket team in the 2 matches in UAE?
So the performance of Pakistan cricket team was quite extraordinary, to see the least, in the first match against India, because we hadn't seen that kind of team which is playing on the ground without any pressure, without taking that match on their nerves. They were calm, they were playing their game, they were playing according to the plan. As far as the Pakistan versus New Zealand match is concerned, there was a little bit of panic in the middle order, but after that, as the experience always paid off, so Shoaib Malik came in and settled the nerves of the team, and they took it to the end.
Okay, thank you.
Hamza, your favorite person is Dave Chappelle.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you like about him?
Ma'am, I like how he correlates to different ideas in the same comic gig, in a way that everyone will laugh about it. At the same time, they will think about it as well. Recently, there has been some controversy going on about his joke regarding to some community. But when you see that gig in the whole, he's actually talking about the brutalities committing against the black people. So the people took that part of joke and out of context, and they started a controversy. But when you see the whole gig, actually he's talking about the social issues. Plus, one thing more I like about him, that he's blunt. He is against the cancel culture which is going on in the world. At the same time, he is not too much hostile toward any community. He's talking about the issues. Most of the people are exploiting the issues, but he's talking about the solution to that issues. So that is the one thing I like about him the most.
Do you think there was controversy more because he had converted to Islam, that he was a Muslim?
Ma'am, I have watched his interview, and he said in his interview explicitly that I didn't make it public because I don't want people to associate my character and my things to the religion from which I belong. So I think his affiliation with Islam has little to do with what the controversy was about, because he himself hadn't put forward any religious, any religious practices or religious beliefs. You just talk about the society of America as a whole. So I think it had little to do with the controversy he is in.
So, talking about the society in United States of America, what is your view on the movement on Black Lives Matter?
Actually, ma'am, the cause of that movement is excellent because they have been brutally murdered. The police brutality is on the rise. The rights which are enshrined in their constitution are not given to them. So actually, the movement initiated when the policeman killed a girl in her own house when he was conducting an illegal search. He didn't have warrant for that. He just went into the house. The girl was sleeping. He pointed a gun at her and he shoot her. So I think the moment in which initiated from that incident was representing the whole anger in the black community regarding the rights, their voting rights. Recently, I cannot recall the name of that state, which ensured that black people cannot vote due to some legal or constitutional loopholes. Plus, when you see the history of United States, it has always been against white and black community. So I think the Black Lives Matter movement is a good movement, but it has to go a long way before it is heard properly and the issues are addressed as the issues should have been addressed earlier. So I think it's a good movement, but it needs to have some strong grounds, some strong supporters before it can be, a revolutionary movement.
Your third option is Foreign Service of Pakistan.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me something about the hierarchy of an embassy?
Again, I have to refuse myself. I have to read up on that as well. So I will read up on that.
Okay, tell me, why do you want to come to Foreign Service?
Ma'am, actually, the Foreign Services of Pakistan was initially to ensure the interest and the national interest of Pakistan. Plus, as I have said earlier, I like debating. I like discussions. I took part in most of the debating seminars which was conducted. So I think foreign services can be that platform through which you can achieve something through dialogues. Recently, it has been very difficult to achieve something through discussions or through dialogues. But I think to ensure the interests of Pakistan, as there is a quotation, there are no permanent enemies, there are no permanent friends, only national interests are permanent. So I think to serve Pakistan in that capacity, that would be an honor. So that's why I opted for foreign services as a third option.
Can you tell me about your views on Taliban, and do you think they will be able to have a national inclusive government?
Ma'am, if they want to survive in the power, they have to have an inclusive government, because the mentality of the Taliban is shifting from the 1994s or 1990s Taliban, because they have two Uzbeks and one, I think, another ethnicity in the government of 33, the interim government they had made recently. So I think in order to survive in the longer run and be accepted in the public arena or in the international arena, they have to have the inclusive government regarding women, regarding multiple ethnicities they have in the government, regarding the religious minorities as well. But in order to do so, they have to leave their staunch support for extremist ideologies they had in the past. So I think it will be a difficult task for them to leave that strong base in order to achieve something in the global arena. But at the same time, as the international community is working toward an inclusive government in Afghanistan, so there is hope that they will accept on humanitarian ground as well, on the maintenance of security, law and order. So they have little space to maneuver. So they have to be forced to make an inclusive government in order to survive. So in a longer run, they can have, but short term, I don't think they are going to change anything in the government.
What is your view on the insurgencies in Balochistan, and what do you think are the influences that are encouraging them?
Actually, the insurgencies in Balochistan are bright as day. We cannot deny that. Actually, it was the policy of India to sandwich Pakistan between, from one side, from the eastern side it was India, and from the western front it was Afghanistan, through the influence of India. So I think the insurgencies in Pakistan, as the case of Kulbhushan Yadav is there, there was a whole network which was apprehended, and the case was presented in the International Court of Justice as well. So the insurgencies are there, but at the same time, due to the change of government in Afghanistan, the Indian government has not left it any other option either to accept the government of Afghanistan, which are not going to do, or they have to lose their $1 billion of investment in Afghanistan in the shape of insurgencies or destabilizing Pakistan. So I think from the Afghanistan, from the Western front, we are quite safe right now. So as far as the Eastern front from the Indian front is concerned, India only had Iran or Afghanistan to insert its spies in Balochistan. So I think Pakistan police, Pakistan security forces, and Pakistan foreign services in that regard doing a very good job to ensuring that the stability in Afghanistan is ensured. Through that, the stability in Balochistan, stability in CPEC, and the stability in Pakistan as a whole, and Pakistan's economy will be ensured.
Thank you very much, Ali Hamza.
Well, Hamza, British government in India introduced a new sort of political system. A new sort of political system in India, United India. Evaluate it and tell me how that new system was beneficial for the Hindus.
It's about hierarchy or something, because I'm not understanding the question.
British government
Yes, sir.
in India introduced new political system that was representative system.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Bilkul, sir.
How that system was beneficial for the Hindus?
Actually, the system, I think it was the India Act of 1892, which ensured which formed two councils, the Executive Council, and then there was the Representative Council later on in 1909 and 1919 as well. So I think that system was beneficial for Hindus because Muslims at that time were not very eager to learn English language, were not very eager to take part in educations. Plus, at the same time, the social and economic status of Muslim was also on decline. If I'm not wrong, the system which was ensured by British made it compulsory that out of 103 representatives were allocated or were appointed by the landlords which are available in that area. So I think that through the academic point of view, educational point of view, economic point of view, plus there was this clash between Muslims and British at that time due to the 1855 war of independence, then 1867 clashes and all these things. So I think that through the implementation of representative government, along with some ifs and buts, that system was more beneficial toward Hindus because they were accepting British as the 1885 Congress aim was to prove their loyalty toward the British, but there was no political representative for Muslims at that time. So that system was more beneficial toward Hindus than Muslims, I think.
Okay, well, Hamza, despite being a failure, how Khilafat movement was important for the Muslims of United India?
The Khilafat movement was important for Muslims in two aspects. The first was the Muslim unity as itself. The second was this realization that they cannot work with the Hindus. They made it to try that Khilafat movement, as Gandhi was part of the Khilafat movement. But when it comes to the real action, Gandhi pulled his support back and left Muslim in front of the British to deal with. So I think as far as the Khilafat movement is concerned, the harmony among the Muslim groups or Muslim ethnicities at that time, the Khilafat movement ensured that if you are united, you can push British to do something politically, and you can say to do something on the basis of electoral reforms as well. So that plus the realization that they cannot work with Hindus on this concept of independent India. So that was something which helped Muslim to realize later as well that they had to active their political base to if they want to be a separate independent country.
Okay, in US history, there was a terminology social Darwinism. Does this social Darwinism has significance in American history?
Social Darwinism, I think that concept was introduced by Carnage. He wrote a book in which he said that the it is the battle of the fittest, as the Darwin said. So he also said that it is the battle of the most productive or the most influenced one. It is the responsibility of the elite to ensure that they are being elite, at the same time they are exploiting the base which is working for them 24/7. So that concept of social Darwinism is still being used with some tweaks as the rise of capitalism. The COVID is the one of the most important and one of the most critical case in that respect as well. During COVID, most of the American working base was reporting for social security. At the same time, the net worth of Jeff Bezos and the net worth of the capitalist elite was increasing manifold. So I think the concept of social Darwinism is still being used in the US, and it has a very significant importance in the US history, because if you see throughout history, most of the wars which were fought was entirely based on the military industry. At the same time, the Cold War was initiated on this concept that if we push money into other countries, then we can control these countries. So it has a significant importance in the history of United States.
Okay, under the Articles of Confederation, what sort of political system, what sort of government emerged in United States of America?
Under the Article of Confederation, a very weak central government was emerged, because they cannot impose taxes. If they have to raise an army, they have to consult the states. The state were autonomous. The debt which was paid by the center, which was ultimately paid by the center, it was about 530 or something $1 billion. But the system of government, the central system of government, was very weak in the Articles of Confederation. That is why after 10 years they have to repeal this whole concept of Article of Confederation and move toward a stronger central government. So I think the Article of Confederation was a mistake on behalf of the United States founding father, as it was said by the George Washington as well, that Article of Confederation is a rope of sand.
I mean, my question was, the government system was whether it's a presidential, it's a parliamentary system, it's a despotism, it's a what sort of government was?
Sir, it was actually a presidential system, but president does not have any power. At the same time, it was a confederate state. States are giving the power to the center. Now the center is delegating the power to the state. So it was a weak presidential system.
It was you sure?
I think so. It was a weak president. In the Article of Confederations, it was weak presidential.
Thank you, Hamza.
Thank you.
Okay, let's conclude this formal interview. Okay? Let's have an informal discussion. Anything you want to know, and how do you feel? How you have performed in this interview?
I think regarding criminology and some of the subjects which I didn't thought.
We are just trying to assess you as a person, your personality, and these are the things which we are saying. वहाँ तो बहुत कुछ पूछे जा रहे हैं. Anything they can ask.
I was a little confused before the interview, but now I feel a little bit more relaxed, actually.
I think we have got good news for you. Your personality is fine. ठीक है? You're माशाल्लाह intelligent हो. Communication skill तुम्हारे ठीक है. You can speak well. You can योर बॉडी लैंग्वेज भी ठीक है, पोस्चर ठीक है तुम्हारा, यू आर क्वाइट कॉन्फिडेंट बिकॉज यू हैव गॉट द नॉलेज, यू आर इन स्टेट ऑफ प्रिपेयर्डनेस, ठीक है। तुम्हारा इंट्रोडक्शन ठीक था, बट आई थिंक इट वाज लेंथी, थोड़ा सा उसको स्ट्रक्चर करके 1 मिनट में ले आओ, ठीक है ना। उसमें 1 मिनट में ब्रिंग ऑल दीज थिंग्स, नंबर 1। दूसरा ये है कि तुम जो अपनी जो जवाब दो ना, फोकस जवाब दो, पॉइंट वाइज, तो फैलाओ नहीं, वो थोड़ी सी फैला देते हो अपने जवाब को, तो वहाँ लोगों के पास टाइम नहीं होता, लंबी बात नहीं होगी। मैंने इफ आई हैव रेज्ड अ क्वेश्चन, बस मेरी भी कंसंट्रेशन 30 सेकंड की है,
सही हो
विद इन 30 मिनट्स यू हैव टू 1 2 3 4 पॉइंट आपने कन्वे कर देने, मैसेज कन्वेट, ठीक है। और न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ते रहो, ये तुम रीस्ट्रक्चर करो, और थोड़ा सा मिरर प्रैक्टिस करके आप अपने आप को खुद देखो। व्हेन यू स्पीक, तुम जब बात कर रहे हो तो सी हाउ यू फील, और हो सकता है कि तुम पाजेस देना शुरू कर दो, लर्न टू गिव सम पाजेस, ठीक है ना। जी सर, आप बताएं।
यू टेक वेरी वेल, जैसे इन्होंने कहा बड़ा अच्छा किया आपने। मैं सिर्फ आपको 1-2 चीज़ें आप पॉइंट आउट करूँगा। आप अपने हाथ जो है ना, आप ये ऐसे करके ना बैठा करें, ठीक है, ये नॉट लाइक दिस इज नॉट गुड। आप ऐसे, दिस इज वे, मतलब ये जो है ना, क्योंकि अगर आप इस तरह और हाथों को ऐसे ऐसे करेंगे तो वो लगेगा आप नर्वस हैं, यू आर नॉट एट ईज। अदरवाइज ठीक है, यू आर बॉल्ड, ठीक है।
हमजा, नॉलेज गैप बेटा है, जिन एरियाज़ का आपको नहीं पता, कुछ तो हमने आइडेंटिफाई किए, जो आपने प्रेफरेंसेस दिए हैं उनके बारे में आपको डिटेल पता होगा, पुलिस के बारे में आपको नहीं पता, फॉरेन सर्विस के बारे में नहीं पता, तो इट्स नॉट अ गुड रिफ्लेक्शन, ठीक है। जो आपके ये कागज़ है उस पर आपके इंटरव्यूज़ आपको जज करेंगे, इधर जो कुछ लिखा है उसकी डिटेल्स आपको पता होनी चाहिए, ठीक है। तो वो आपने कवर करना है, एंड आई एम श्योर यू नीड टू डू वेल।
थैंक यू मैम। फिर हमजा, अभी सर ने भी कहा कि आपका आंसर फोकस होना चाहिए, यू नीड अ लिटिल क्लैरिटी। अपने इंटरव्यूज पहले किसी सीनियर टीचर के पास जाके जो सब्जेक्ट्स आपके हैं उनसे डिस्कशन कर लीजिएगा, यू नीड अ लिटिल क्लैरिटी। आपकी कम्युनिकेशन स्किल इज गुड, तो कुछ आंसर्स जो हैं उनकी क्लैरिटी चाहिए, इतना लंबा आंसर्स ना जाए, फोकस आंसर दें,
मतलब इन डायरेक्टली जो चीज़ पूछी गई है डायरेक्टली
उसको फोकस करें आप।
श्योर
कब है तुम्हारा इंटरव्यू?
सर 3rd नवंबर।
चलो, अच्छा, ये तुमने वीकनेसेस लिखी हैं, परफेक्शनिस्ट, a little bit of stubbornness, perfectionist तो वीकनेस नहीं हो सकती, इट इज पॉजिटिव।
बिल्कुल सर, ये उन्होंने साइकोलॉजिकल में भी मुझसे यही क्वेश्चन पूछा था।
पॉजिटिविटी है, दिस इज अ पॉजिटिव ट्रेट।
सर उसमें ये
और
गया
स्टबर्ननेस जो है, क्या है, कौन सा स्टबर्न?
स्टबर्ननेस इन अ सेंस के
थोड़ा है, बहुत हो, एक
सर पहले था ज्यादा, बट नाउ
स्टबर्ननेस की एक तस्वीर होती है, पता है?
बिल्कुल सर,
वो तो नहीं हो।
नो सर, नो सर।
लिटिल बिट स्टबर्न तो ठीक है, ज्यादा स्टबर्न नहीं होना चाहिए ना।
श्योर सर,
लिटिल बिट ये ठीक नहीं है, दिस इज नॉट,
बट आई थिंक यू नीड टू वर्क हार्ड, ठीक है ना। अपने करंट लो और फोकस करो। फोकस यार इस तरह करो, ऐसी एक नोटबुक लो, अगर नहीं है तो इसको इंटरव्यू नोटबुक कहता हूँ मैं। तो वो ये है कि हर पेज पे एक टॉपिक लिखो, उसके 4 पॉइंट लिखो, 5 पॉइंट लिखो, 6 पॉइंट लिखो, और जब जवाब दो ना, तो मैं पता हो कि एनर्जी क्राइसिस पे मैंने 1 2 3 4 पॉइंट देने हैं, तो इट इज ए क्विक रिवीजन एंड क्विक प्रिपरेशन एंड इट विल मेक यू फोकस।
श्योर सर,
ठीक है,
श्योर सर,
तो ये करो। बेस्ट ऑफ लक।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सर।
दिस इज अ गुड मार्क्स, बट यू नीड टू गेट मोर।
श्योर सर, थैंक यू सर।